Hey, hi everyone. Back with another edition of the Athletes Hub today with myself, Rich, as always. Today I'm joined by a mate of mine, Adon. How you doing, mate?
All right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Not too bad. Obviously, we used to work together. For people who don't know, and during the office, we used to have a lot of banter about various sports and mainly banter towards you because you're an Arsenal fan. So good times there. But yeah, I mean, listen, guys. Today's the start of a new series called "Who Was Better." So essentially, we'll be looking at current football teams, past football teams, and just sort of making comparisons. Not just current teams and previous teams, but also players as well. So looking at the current crop of players and also comparing them to players who maybe I was growing up watching them in the 90s or in the early 2000s and just seeing who was better, really. And today's focus is on Pep Guardiola. And for everyone who knows, Pep is a current Man City manager. However, he was, I don't know, was he most famous known for his time at Barcelona, would you say? Or
Um, I would say so.
you say so, yeah.
I would say,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So today
That's
we
where he put his name out. That's where he put his
yeah,
name out.
put
And
him out
like,
there, yeah. That's a good point. So today we're looking at Pep Guardiola's Manchester City team and also comparing that to his team at Barcelona from 2008 until 2012 when he left to go to Bayern Munich. I know I didn't need to go to Bayern Munich. I think he took a year out actually. I think.
and then went Bayern.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty interesting comparison, really. I think, from your opinion, Adam, what team was better? Would you say the team from 2008 to 2012, or the current Man City squad?
I would say the 2008 to 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, why do you think that was better?
they were both a really good team. They're both amazing. But I think
Mm,
the 2011, in particular, Barcelona was just another level. It just you couldn't stop them, and
yeah.
even if you did trying to, they had another outlet. They had another way of getting around you.
Mm. That's a good point. I think we'll come to that as we go on there. Really, for me personally, the reason I wanted to compare these two teams is because for me personally, these two teams right now, they're the best footballing teams I've seen sort of watching football. I think anything that comes close to it might be for me the AC Milan team between 2005 to 2007, or the Real Madrid team in 2002, the Brazilian team, World Cup 2002, really good team as well. But this team, footballing wise, I haven't really seen, or these two teams, I haven't really seen many, sort of compare in terms of the skill set, how, you know, as you mentioned, different options they had, in the squad as well. So I think it's going to be a really, really good comparison. When you look at both the Barcelona team and the current Man City team, who are your key players from each team, would you say?
So with Barcelona,
Mm.
you would obviously had Messi.
Yeah, clearly.
Obviously, I mean he's basically one of the goats.
Mm.
You'd
Is
also
he your goat?
say he. Alright. So when I compare the goats, or when you compare Ronaldo and Messi,
Yeah.
obviously unbelievable talents.
Mm.
I think Messi is more aesthetically pleasing as a footballer
Mm.
on the ball, whereas Ronaldo is more wanting just to shoot all the time
Yeah,
and
like a
whatnot.
powerhouse.
How yeah,
Yeah.
and I would say Messi would try and do more for his team if he
Mm.
can, because he has to both create and score, whereas Ronaldo has players around him that can create for him, but Messi nowadays has to create in order just for his team to do well
Mm.
and score. But with regards to standout players, Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, and the Busquets trio was very fundamental
Mm.
for that Barcelona in order for them to keep ticking non-stop.
Mm.
And another one which is kind of underrated, but no one really talks about much, was Dani Alves. Just from right back, how he was just he was basically living on past the halfway line. You never see him back, and his attacking, he just bombing forward all the time, caused another outlet, and that allowed like David Villa or Pedro, who was always like coming inside, to be able to have more chances to score
Yeah.
from inside than being stuck on the wing, because they knew they had Dani Alves
Mm.
supporting them on the
Okay.
back. Yeah.
Yes, good points. I mean, some really key players you mentioned there. How about the current Man City squad from 2007 to 2020? What players would you say are fundamental to Pep's success so far?
So one of them is De Bruyne. Has to create so many chances. You've seen last season, the season just gone, 20 assists in
Yeah,
the Prem. Um, Also, I would say currently Laporte, because without Laporte, they literally can't function defensively.
yeah, they fall
It's
apart
like
clearly.
it's clear. I would also say a bit of a shocking one, but Edison, as the way he's kind of refined the goalkeeping, the way goalkeepers are,
Yeah,
because obviously before goalkeepers just there to save and then just punt it out long. Then we saw like Neuer being a bit of a sweeper keeper, just rushing out of his goal all the time and being that's like okay one step. But now with Edison, he's more like a midfielder with the way he keeps the ball, the way he like pings passes from like to his right back or to someone in the central midfield, and it's like something that no one's ever seen from a goalkeeper. Just the way he passes it out like
yeah, yeah. Do
midfielder.
you think that it's a good point with Edison because I think with Edison he does get overlooked. But if you notice in Man City's team, especially with Pep's teams, they always build from the back. And with Edison, he's a key part of that because this guy can take a goal kick. Like even when the ball's in his hands and he's kicking it towards Sterling or Sané at the time or Mahrez, he can pick out a pass. And he is so key because he starts the attacks. So it's not just him passing out to whether it's Laporte or Fernandinho, but he starts attacks by, I mean, as you mentioned before, we made a good point about the different options in Pep's teams. So if he's not passing it short to Fernandinho, he can pass it long to Mahrez or to Gundogan or to Sané. And that's another option of attack as well. So when teams are going for corner kicks and he catches the ball, bang, they're on the counter attack already. So that's a really good point.
I
Would you?
even forgot like Sterling and Mahrez and
Yeah,
Aguero.
there's so many, isn't there? Really?
There's so many options. Like
Yeah.
those I felt were like one of the standouts because
Mm,
of how the play works and how
yeah.
Pep likes to build from the back.
Yeah. So if you had to pick Valdez or Edison in goal for, so we'll come to a combined team later on,
Hmm.
but if you had to choose either Valdez or Edison, who would take your pick?
Both really good keepers, but I think I'll just choose Edison just because of his footballing ability
Mm,
on the ball. Don't get me wrong, Edison is a good shot stopper,
mm,
but there are times where he can be, I wouldn't say lapse to concentration, but it's more so he's when it comes from shots from distance, there are times where he does look a bit
mm.
shaky, and obviously
Well,
he
he's
can.
Brazilian, isn't he? I think Brazilian players are always kind of thinking attacking, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
it's like Luis. Obviously, you're Arsenal fans, so you've seen him this season,
I've
but
seen.
you know, like
Unfortunately.
Brazilian players, even when they're defensive, it's like even Cafu, Roberto Carlos, they were so good going forward, even though they were fullbacks, but they always influence the attack going forward. And
Hmm.
naturally, Brazilian players just for whatever reason they've got this instinct where they have to do something offensively. That's like the first foot. Whereas
That's
in
nice,
British players, we're more like attack. Sorry, defend, defend. You just got to defend no matter what. Whereas they're thinking, okay, cool, I can defend here, but I can also influence going forward.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So it's a really good point you made there. I think for me, looking at both teams' key players, especially with Barcelona, Messi clearly. I think a lot of Pep's success came from Messi. But I think going back towards his first season in charge, he had Thierry Henry, left Arsenal at the time,
Hmm.
Samuel Eto'o as well, Yaya Toure. I think in that
Hmm.
season, they were all very important towards him winning the Champions League in particular because Toure was over like he could play anywhere in that team. Toure. I think Henry was playing on the right hand side as well. Eto'o playing as a number 9, and Messi on the
Messi
right.
on the.
So I think for that team, as you mentioned, the goalkeeper, but I think for me, the three in midfield, again, really, really good point. They were literally like brothers because they all knew how to play. And Messi, obviously, um, then the others, good shout. I think he doesn't always get mentioned in that team, but he was so good going forward. I mean, the guy was always, I mean, I don't know, what do you think made the team so good? Why was that Barca team so good from 2008 to 2012? What made, if you had to pick one quality, what made them stand out?
Tiki takaness,
You
like
know,
how it was like a different form of football evolution.
mm,
No one had ever seen a team. keep possession like that before ever. Like usually teams would average like maybe 55%, but these Barcelona was averaging like 60 plus, 65, 70%, and dominating the ball. And like teams that would defend playing against them would have to know that, right, we're not going to have the ball as much. We need to defend for our lives. And we make one mistake, they've picked us apart, and we're finished basically. Like they can just pull one pass can literally shift the overloads. Let's say so. 1 minute you're focusing on the left, you leave too much space on the right. Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets can all make that pass to transition, to space, and then whatnot. I'd never seen anything like that until that Barcelona. And then
yeah, that's again really good point. I think even our possession as well, like how they hunted the ball down. So when they lost possession, Pedro, VR, everybody would work hard out of possession, and that was what impressed me the most. Because even when he won the ball back now, there's no time on the ball, and that's what he worked on. With it's not just attacking wise, but with Pep's teams, they don't defend deep. Like they always defend with attack. Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's how they defend, and that's what really impressed me because with his teams, I never see them sit back. I never see Pep's teams. So even with Man City now,
I think I've never seen a Pep team with less than 50% possession.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
I mean, his teams are always forward thinking there. In terms of, is there one? We'll come to Man City in a moment, but is there one game from that period in Barcelona where you thought, okay, this team's really, really good, like they really impressed me today?
I would say the Champions League final 2011.
Yeah, that's a bad memory for me, but yeah, I agree as well.
It literally just, wow. Even when United scored, you still felt that Barcelona would just conjure something from nothing. You knew something was going to happen. Also, the Real Madrid Barcelona in the second leg, where was it second leg or first?
Is that 2-0 when Messi did that dribble?
Yeah, from basically the halfway line, and it was just like, wow. And you couldn't stop him. It was just like there was nothing you could do about it.
Yeah, that 2010-11 Messi was a different breed, really. To be honest, have I seen him play better? I don't know, because that season he did. I mean, I thought one game that really impressed me was
the next season he scored like 80 goals. I swear, in like all competition. He scored a ridiculous number the following season.
What, the 2012 season?
Something like that. There was where he just scores another.
To be fair, the guy scored like at least a minimum of 50 goals every year anyway. One game that really impressed me that season was 2010 against Real Madrid at home, 5-0. I think that was at home in the Camp Nou when they beat Madrid 5-0. Oh no, that was Camp Nou. So I think that's when Jose first came to Madrid.
Okay.
And that season they played him at Camp Nou and it was 5-0. And honestly, they just destroyed that team. And you can tell that Mourinho did everything he could to stop that team, but they were just the way Pedro running behind, Alves joining the attack, Messi and Iniesta just link up. It was just, honestly, I think that performance and the performance against United at Wembley, for me, were the best two performances I've seen from that team in particular. Having dominant possession, and essentially the other team kind of just gives up, don't they?
I think when I was checking through that Barca season, they'd only lost like about 3 or 4 games in that 2011. Obviously, 2 in the league, 1 in the Copa del Rey, and they lost 1 knockout game. They lost one of the legs in the Champions League that season.
Yeah. It's astonishing, really. And I think that team, for me personally, is probably the best team I've ever seen, to be honest. I mean, how impressed were you that Pep, obviously it took him a bit of time at Man City to kind of build the team and get them going. How impressed were you with that 2017-18 season where they won the points record, got 100 points? How impressed were you at the time?
It was just like, wow. I mean, there's many teams you've seen in the past. You've got the Invincibles, you've had United treble, you've had Chelsea in Mourinho's first season, and even Liverpool this season was like something that was like wow as well. But this City team, that Centurions, was like, okay, they've got creativity all over the pitch, whether it's De Bruyne, whether it's Sane, whether it's Sterling. whether it's Bernardo Silva or David Silva, that's just like coming guys who some of them weren't even starting, they were coming off the bench, but they would just do something out of nowhere. It was like once Pep got clicking with the players he wanted, it was, I wouldn't say game over, but it was more he's coming, he's ready. Because that first season, to 2016-17, they finished fourth.
I think so, yeah. They struggled because he didn't have the players and he was trying to rebuild, so, you know.
But like, even after one season, he didn't like Bravo, and he went and got Edison because Bravo was making mistakes with the ball at his feet. Whether also that 2017-18 was, I think, not a turning point, but it elevated Sterling to another level. Because before it was Sterling had the talent, he had the ability, it was clear. But when it came to finishing, he wasn't a consistent finisher. But 2017-18, lights out. He became a shooter in a way.
Sure, yeah, you're right, 100% there, 100%. I think as well, it's like that City team in particular, the thing that impressed me the most, again, you mentioned options they had there, but just the way they, because in the Premier League, you mentioned Invincibles and the United Treble team, but they're all different styles though. So I hadn't really seen that tiki-taka football in the Premier League played at that level, you know, and I don't know, would you say that the 2018-19 season when they retained it, was that more impressive because of Liverpool being so direct and having to come from behind to win it? Would you say that was a more impressive Man City team? Even though they broke the record in 2018. However, looking at 2019, how that's to come back, win every game as well to win the Premier League, was that, I don't know, did that impress you more?
I think every team, whoever wins the league, is always impressive, no matter what. But breaking the I don't know. Obviously, because I think the 2017-18, there wasn't any real rivals. There wasn't anyone really close to them. But the 2019, they were getting pushed by Liverpool all the way. It was like neck and neck. 1 minute Liverpool, 1 minute City. Then Liverpool knew that they had to win in order to at least keep up with City. And then whenever Liverpool played, City knew they had to win. So it was like back and forth. It was like, it brought the best out of both teams. And know they had to win at all costs. Yeah. And that's what made it impressive as well. But I can't say which one was.
Which was better, yeah. I think essentially they had the same players, didn't they? Because I think Laporte got signed in 2018. I think.
Halfway through the season.
Yeah, I think it was that, because I don't know. Look at, I think they signed Morris as well. Morris got signed the season after in 2018. So there was a slight change in terms of the players. But again,
who did they sell? Who left?
I don't remember, to be actually, I don't think many people left. I think all the key players stayed in the team.
All the nucleus still.
Yeah, all the key players stayed in. I don't think many, because John Stones was still there. I think he was still there.
Company left last season. Well,
left last season. Yeah. So I think essentially it was just the same squad, but just tweaking it a little bit, really. But yeah, I think again having to bring that style to the Premier League, what you achieved. You know, the football we played, the teams we played against as well. Everyone's trying to find ways to stop them, but they're still getting through matches. That was what really impressed me. If we look at weaknesses now in both teams, that Barca team and the current Man City team, is there one weakness that you kind of thought, okay, this team, you know, we can really hurt them here?
I would say with the Man City, the defence, if there was no Company, no Laporte, and I just feel that without those two guys there, with Stones, Otamendi, or whoever was playing there, it wasn't as clear cut because he couldn't trust them. Even now, like he still had that problem of who needs to partner Laporte. Is it Otamendi? Is it Stones? Now they've signed Ake. They might get Koulibaly. It's just.
Is Ake for you? Is Ake going to solve those? He's a different type of defender. He's good. He's a very good on the ball. He can play out from the back. I think ideally Pep's ideal defender. Again with PK at Barcelona did the same thing. Do you think that? I don't know. Do you think that will still improve the defense though, or are you looking for another proper centre half?
I don't know what Pep wants at the end. I don't know because another issue that he also has on top of centre back is left back. Ever since he's been at City, he's always not had a reliable left back. Like Mendy started a couple of games, then has had injury problems. Zinchenko's not a left back by trade. Delph is not a left back by trade. They loaned out Angelino after he.
That was weird because at Leipzig he was so good. Like I mentioned the Champions League this season, and I watched him against Liverpool at Anfield this season, last season, and he was pretty good. He wasn't that bad. So I was surprised that they.
He didn't have the greatest of games.
Yeah, I mean, going forward though, he's really good. Like, forward, he's a good defender, but
going forward,
but defensively, I think a lot of defenders nowadays, they can get caught out. But I was still surprised because I thought he would. I think when you compare him with Shevchenko, like I think Angelino's a better left back, in my opinion, anyway.
But like, I just don't know what Pep wants. Even Ake can play as left back as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know what, because if it's what he's gonna do, and how he's gonna fix it.
Yeah,
but
that is true.
That is like the one major weakness. Like this season alone, they've lost how many games? 9, 10 in all competition. Quite a lot. And I think the teams who've beaten them all either sit back and deep and then just counter them with pace. And that's one thing you can get through. Just don't go through the right hands. Don't go through Kyle Walker's side because
he's too quick.
He's too quick. Just do it straight or on the left side.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think the Man City team, the clear weakness is the defence. I think even Fernandinho's had to play in there a few times just to cover up. But again, he hasn't got the legs. He's an intelligent player, but he hasn't got the legs.
Would you say also like another weakness with Pep, more so at Man City, is that he's overthinking in like the bigger games and like the big cup competitions, like the Champions League knockout stage or even the semi-final?
I think with Pep, you look at last season, obviously he lost to Lyon. With the Lyon game, I looked at it and I thought to myself, when it was 1-1, they were the better team. They were going to score next. But when Sterling, or when they make that mistake defensively, and the game changes at that point, and Sterling has that chance to make it 2-2. It's little details there. It's little things, because if Sterling scores that, they probably go on to win the game. So I think his team selection was wrong. The formation was wrong, because I think he should have went for it. But if you look at this season and last season against Tottenham in the quarterfinals, they played really well that game. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, they went to Anfield and they got battered, but I just feel as if some teams are very direct and they know what they're doing. But with Pep, he does, as you said, he likes to tinker with things a lot, and he's very into small details. Whereas with Jurgen Klopp, for example, he knows how his team plays and he knows what he wants to achieve. The players know what to achieve, and they believe they're going to score goals. With Man City, it's very sort of like small margins, and we've got to do certain things. So I think that kind of makes it complicated in a way. But at the same time, I feel as if, compared to those two against Liverpool and against Tottenham, this Lyon team was probably the best chance for them to get through.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Even the Monaco, the first season, when Pep's first season, when they played Monaco, that everyone thought, okay, Man City were going to win because no one knew what Monaco were going to play, and then they shocked everyone to the semi-final.
It's defensively, it's small little things though, little things defensively that, again, if they don't have a proper defensive partnerships, especially in the middle, like they'll suffer. Like you look at Liverpool, they went to, they bought Van Dijk in, bought Alisson in, and won the Champions League.
But like Pep going through it in the pack shocked everyone, because everyone knows Pep is a 4-3 guy who just strictly is a 4-3-3 through La Masia, through his time at La Masia and Barcelona.
Because he knew against Lyon, he had a tough game last season, so he was overthinking and thinking, okay, I've got to match up now. But the difference with Lyon is they know exactly how to play that formation. That's what they practice every single day. Against Bayern Munich, you saw it. They had chances to score because they know how to play that five at the back. They know how to do it. But Man City don't play that all the time. So as soon as you change it and it matches up now, there's no options. They don't know how to get through at that point. So I think that Pep's teams, especially defensively, like you said, are the major weakness. How about the Barcelona team? Was there a weakness in there that you kind of thought we can get at?
Maybe defensively, because sometimes if it's Puyol and Piqué, it's like a strong defense. If it's Mascherano, I don't see Mascherano is very good, but I don't know whether because he was naturally as a defensive midfielder, like a centre defence, but he wasn't. There are times where he played centre back, and I still feel that
Mm.
I don't know if you could trust him as a centre back. Because back then, with centre backs, you want them to be like 6'2", minimal
Yeah.
6 foot. He was like 5'10",
Mm.
something. And it wasn't the norm. Yes, you've had like Cannavaro, who was like 5'9", and he was like
Mm.
one of
One
the
of the
best.
best, isn't
And
it? Yeah.
yeah, but I
But if
feel
you
that,
notice though, him, Mascherano and Fernandinho are both central defensive midfielders, and they're both eventually transitioned into centre back. So
but
there's a
not
little.
through choice. But it's not
It's
like
not from
it
choice,
was.
exactly. Yeah, but it's a little thing. That's why I was thinking. With Fernandinho at centre back, he's a good reader of the game and he's intelligent, but he hasn't got the legs and he hasn't maybe got the defensive instinct, I suppose.
Because I feel even with the Barcelona, you could get through. You could get through them. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to bring back to Arsenal thing, but in the Champions League, the 2010-11, when
Yeah.
we beat them at the Emirates, and it was just like, wow, we actually beat this
Beat this
Barcelona.
team.
Even
Yeah, I
though,
remember that game. Yeah, Ashraf scores that goal.
yeah,
Crazy stuff. Yeah.
it wasn't like, it was like, wow. Even though there's 2 legs, you still have to play thing. Just the first leg having an advantage against Barcelona was like, wow. It was like, yes, we've had to like suck it up and like keep drawing with. We had to like defend, but when we had to take the chances, you have to take them no matter what. You can't not take. If you've been given a chance against Pep team, take the chance. You have to score. If you don't, they'll punish you. Simple.
Yeah,
And
I
every
agree,
team
100%.
learned.
I think one weakness in that team was they couldn't change things, in my opinion. The Barcelona team are very good doing what they do best in terms of dominating games, creating chances. But I think when they were struggling in games, they couldn't change it. And one example that I loved, still to this day, was the Inter Milan game in 2010.
Yes,
So over two
the
legs,
radio.
yeah, they lose at home, they lose away from home 3-1, I think it was. And then at home, Jose tactical masterclass, in my
They
opinion.
were down. They had a man down. I swear.
What, Barcelona?
And they were. Wasn't that the game where Motto gets
Yes, you're
sent
right.
off
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Yeah,
and Neto plays on the right
yeah. I
and
think
he's
I think that time Zlatan was at Barcelona as well.
yeah.
Yeah, tactical masterclass because that was when Jose was at his very, very best. Because that team at that point, you're thinking, okay, man down here at home, they're going to absolutely decimate
Hmm.
this Inter Milan team. But they still couldn't find a way through because they had analysed all of their patterns of play where Messi dropped into space. They weren't giving him any space. The two fullbacks were sort of pushed back as well because they like to get forward and attack the play. And I felt as if with a further a man up and advantage that way, they still couldn't change it around. They're still trying to play the same football. And even against Chelsea in the 2012 Champions
I was
League,
going to
where,
say Chelsea is what I was going to say.
yeah, and Terry gets sent off. And okay, you're in possession, you've got a man up here now, but they still can't change the tactics. And that was what I felt as if, okay, if a team figures you out now, finding solutions, that's the next step. And I felt
And the
as if,
goal was from a counter in the end from
exactly,
Chelsea,
yeah,
both Chelsea and
exactly. So they can't, that team at the time were very, very good at what they did. And if they were dominant, they could really dominate teams. But when teams found them out and they got matched up, I felt as if they couldn't really find solutions to that. And that was probably a weakness because look at those two games, 2010 Champions League and the 2012 one. They were, they could have won those trophies at that time. So the fact they couldn't change it for me was something you look at as a manager. Think, okay, cool. If we stick to our plan, if we frustrate these guys, we can get a result here. And by them not changing it, that's what I thought. You know what? This is actually a weakness that we can exploit. To be honest.
would you say just if they obviously then you've heard the jokes of could they do it on a cold rainy night in Stoke and whatnot. There's all those jokes and whatnot.
Funny enough though, like Bojan went to Stoke though. Who's at Barcelona? Bojan went to Stoke and he was a disaster at Stoke. To be fair.
Yeah.
It was a shame. But I mean, look, I think I've got some two tough questions now. We'll get to the 11, the fantasy 11 in a bit. But if both teams were to play against each other today, that Barcelona team and the current Man City team, who's winning that game?
And
that's a really tough one. Like, if we had to get your best 11 from 2008 to 2012 in Barcelona and your best 11 from 2016 until now at Man City, who is going to win that football match?
Who'd be sitting back?
Sorry?
Who'd be sitting back?
Nobody. Because they both
would want the ball.
that's the thing, though. It's like They do it as like that's again. If both teams play how they play now, or how Barca played at the time, like they match up pretty evenly. To be honest.
Yeah. The only thing I could see with the Barcelona one is the legs.
Okay.
Do they have the athleticism in the midfield centrally? Potential. Because
But they kept the ball the best though, and they could tire you out.
They could tire. But obviously, with the way football's changing now and Pep's teams, they can't be just rely. They have to obviously be very good at the ball, but they have to have a bit of athleticism to it. And the speed of the wingers who they had in Pep's team, Man City wise, with it Sterling, Sane, Mahrez, and whatnot. And also with Pep's team now as well, there is a lot of right back tucking in. So it's like the left side gets overloaded and Kyle Walker comes in, or whoever the right back is, tucks in as like a midfielder to stop them getting countered.
Yeah.
I don't see much of that. Didn't see much of that towards Pep's Barcelona team as much, let's say, because they knew Busquets could still shield the back line. So that's just stuff I can pick out.
Would you say that because Barca's team won the Champions League twice, 2009, 2011, that they have the edge? Because if you look at, even forget the 2011 team, but looking at 2009 with Arturo, Eto'o, Henry, Bojan in there as well, Adriano, like there's a variety in that team who, again, it's, if I took the whole squad and I said, okay, that 2008, 2019, that has a really good shot at winning because Eto'o was on fire that time, and
I still don't know why they let him go. I still do not know why.
I don't think he suited the style that Pep wanted to play, really, to be honest. Because Messi I don't think Pep liked out-and-out strikers. That's why when he came to City, everyone thought, okay, Aguero's going to kind of move on now because he always played with that way. But you couldn't pick out a winner from those two teams.
I can't, to be honest, because
I think if I had to pick, based on the back four, I might have to say Barcelona because Alves, Puyol, PK, and Abidal, that was a really good back four. And I just felt as if with the protection with Busquets in front of them as well, and the options Iniesta in there, Xavi, Eto'o, Henry, Bojan, Messi, Torre, that's a really good selection, to be honest. So it's hard. But if I had to pick, I think that Barca team, because
it's very tight. Yeah, it could go. You have a case for both cases, both teams, whoever it is. Just need to know which Pep would overthink more, and they'll win.
Pep's a very complicated manager in his mind. I'd love to see his tactics board, honestly, because the way he sets up, I just love to see what he does.
Even at Bayern as well. Even when he was at Bayern, like they'd never like come across a manager who tactically changes and alters stuff the way he does in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, he changed football. Pep changed football. The way that we play it, the way that it's watched. Arsene Wenger did that as well, to be fair. Back in the early 2000s, he changed the way football's been played. Amazing coach. But I think everyone's saying Pep Guardiola. Everyone's sort of saying Pep's lost it. He's not the same manager. He failed at Man City. He can't win the Champions League. Is he a better manager now, or was he better at the time at Barcelona?
He's still a great manager at the end of the day. You can't say. Obviously, people say the one point that everyone is going to make is, can you win the Champions League without Messi? It's the simple question. Man City hired him to win the Champions League, not keep winning. Yes, they can win the league. They will be happy with any trophy, but they want that one European. They want the Champions League, simple as. And they feel they have the best coach. But they might feel... I'm not going to say they're going to sack him. But they might feel that if he's going to keep consistently getting knocked out of the quarterfinals every single year, there's going to have to come a point where is there going to be a time where do you have to move on if you want to still keep challenging for wanting to win the Champions League? Because if you're seeing Tottenham get to a Champions League final, PSG for the first time reaching a Champions League final before them. I'm trying to think who else. Even Juventus making Champions League final, which no one really expects. Even Liverpool.
Even Atletico Madrid as well at one point.
Atletico Madrid.
You know what I mean, yes, you're right there. But I don't know.
He's still a great manager, but it's just the one thing. Can he deliver Man City a Champions League title?
Do you think he will? Or
I don't think so. I don't think because the Man City's team, how many more years left? Obviously, they're still a fantastic team, but they've lost Sane now.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sane didn't play much, but he gave them a different dimension, coming on the left and being naturally a natural left winger, whereas Wet likes his wingers to come in, cut inside all the time.
Yeah.
But with that Barcelona, you knew they can win anything. Man City, can they win the Champions League? That's the only differentiating factor.
Okay. So you think that he was a better coach at Barcelona?
Yes.
And I think Messi helped massively as well. So we'll give him that.
Yes.
I think with football's always changing, isn't it? Football's always changing, it's always evolving, and come to the Premier League, it's tough. It's not easy. The demands, I'm not saying that the league is easy, but coming here to the Premier League, having to adjust to it. I mean,
and he did in a way. He
won 2 Premier League titles, like back to back.
I mean,
as well.
first season, people calling him out, saying not calling him out. It's like, can he actually do it? Because he's struggling. I mean, they lost 4-0 to Everton in his first season, and everyone was like, "Wow, are you sure this is a better team?" And the next season, 100 points.
Yeah, do you mean like he's a great coach. Pep's still a great coach. I mean, I know you spoke about him leaving Man City, but if Man City won't win the Champions League, what better coaches in the market right now would you replace Pep with to go win the Champions League? Who's out there right now that would come into Man City?
I mean, obviously Klopp would be there, but obviously they wouldn't want to take Klopp.
Who would take Klopp? Let's go from Liverpool to Man City. No way. Liverpool won't give him up.
I mean,
manager-wise, right now in the world, we're talking to someone who is potentially not available, but someone who.
I thought you were talking about available managers who are seeking.
Yeah, if Pep went to, if he was to leave tomorrow and Man City wants to win the Champions League, who you can hire?
I don't know. I honestly.
Maybe Jose Enrique, who was at Barcelona before.
He's managing Spain national. Obviously.
Right. Yeah.
I would have said Allegri, but would he be the type that Man City would want?
He's a winner.
He's a winner, but he's also
has he won Champions League though?
Nope. He's been 2 Champions League finals and thing. I was gonna say Poch, but like
he's not won anything either.
Hasn't won anything.
It's tough. Look at.
I mean, even depending how Arteta goes on.
Yeah.
I don't want to say him. I don't want to say he wants to leave. I don't want to see him manage another club because he's doing all right.
Yeah.
So far, but he could come back. You never know. I mean, he's learned off Pep.
It's true. But again, he's
giving time. He needs to develop.
Yeah. Again, Arsenal. I think Arsenal's his first current job, isn't it? So we have to see how he gets on the next season or so.
Or it could be you could have like company managing, considering the way the trend is of ex-footballers managing.
Managers, yeah. It's a good shout. But you're talking about a guy who's best in the business, Pep, who's won a Champions League twice before, knows what it takes to do it. But okay, look, I think this has been a really good conversation, man. But I want to finish off with 11 aside. So I want us to do a combined City Barcelona team. What formation are we going for? We're going for 4-3-3, or I'll let you pick the formation.
It's got to be a 4-3-3.
4-3-3. Perfect. We'll start with that. Goalkeeper-wise, who's a goalkeeper that's taken the number 1 spot out of both teams?
Ederson.
Right back, Dani Alves, I think.
Dani Alves.
Other Kyle Walker.
Daniel.
It's a tough shot.
Kyle Walker's good,
yeah.
But he doesn't possess. He's good. Even Kyle Walker has the same issue with Dani Alves, where he isn't as good defensively as he is going forward. And with Dani Alves, you know that he can create. I mean, he got 20 assists in that 10-11 season with Barcelona, which is something that no one really speaks upon.
True.
Just him as a creative outlet from the right, just cutting balls back for Messi or Pedro or David Villa to oncoming balls. I would say Dani Alves.
I think he's also got a ridiculous amount of trophies. I think he's won something like 25 trophies or something in his career.
What about? Oh, it was correct. I thought it was just Barcelona alone.
Was that just Barcelona? I heard something like
I don't know. It's something ridiculous. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy amount of trophies he's won. Well, okay, we give Dani Alves that spot. We've got the centre back pairing. Who are we going for? We're going for PK, Puyol, Company,
PK.
Who's the first centre back we're going for?
Company's got to be there. Company has to be there, 100%. But
would you pick Company over Puyol and PK as a partner?
I was gonna say actually I might need to take that back because Company towards Pep's time was mainly injured a lot. It wasn't the Company. Company was still fantastic, but it wasn't the Company under Mancini or even Pellegrini where he was staying fit all the time. But he's still got to be in the shout. Company, no matter what.
Yeah.
I would say PK has to be there. I would say PK has to be in there just because he basically started when Pep came, and throughout the time it's more or less been consistent. And the other one, I wouldn't say Laporte because he's been there. He hasn't been there for that long, and even though he has made an impact, it needs to be sustained. I think for a long time. Whereas Company, I feel he should be considered, but I don't know if it's within the Pep formation where we saw his best.
I think Puyol has to be the partner, in my opinion.
I think then it has to be.
Dominate. The guy's a great centre back for many years. Started at Barcelona, kind of grew up there.
That's right back.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he's always been in that FIFA team. I think when you do the Ballon d'Or, you get like the combined team at the end of the year.
You just get Barcelona and Belgium.
Yeah, literally. And he was always in that team. And I think either him and Ramos or PK and Ramos. Ramos was always in it, no matter what. I think Puyol, amazing centre back for many years and always consistent there. Left back position.
You say PK and Ramos for the two?
I think PK and Puyol.
PK and Ramos. PK and Puyol. But yeah.
PK and Puyol, 100%. What they achieved, winning 2 Champions Leagues together. They're a really good partnership in my opinion. Left back, we've got Abidal there. We've got Mendy.
Mendy. I think there's only got to be Abidal because. Yeah.
I think the whole back four is just Barcelona, isn't it? Because
basically
what they achieved and how they did their amazing team. I think where it gets more tricky is the midfield now. So we've got the defensive midfield player, Busquets, Fernandinho, Torre. Who are you going to go for?
For the way Pep goes in that 4-3-3, you need a Busquets.
Okay.
You need a Busquets just to. Because Fernandinho's good, but I don't think he can do the passes that he couldn't break up the play or read the play as well as Busquets could do. And also, him keeping the play ticking was just non-stop. Like for teams, I remember even the Champions League final 2011, Rooney tried to stick to Busquets, and by the time he got to him, Busquets has already passed it to Xavi or Iniesta or even Messi.
Yeah, he was always in the mood. Busquets was always... You know what? I'll be honest. I didn't really rate Busquets at the start because I didn't know what he did. Like, people used to bring about it. I was thinking, the guy just picks up the ball and passes it. I don't know what else is he? That's it. But people used to say, no, let's watch this guy and watch the way he plays. The space he gets into, always find the pass, never loses possession. And when you look at him closely, you can actually realise that's what he does there. But when I first saw him, I didn't understand why everyone loved him because I thought he picked up the ball and passed it and that was all he did. Do you know what I mean? But looking over the years and how he's plays for not just Barcelona but also Spain, massive credit.
Not so much now because he's getting on a bit. But back during the 08 to 2012, 2013 thing, he was just fundamental in how to keep the ball ticking once they've got the ball out from the back.
Amazing player, amazing.
Yeah.
Now it's tricky now. We've got the two on the other side. We've got Xavi Iniesta, we've got De Bruyne, David Silva, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, Torre as well. I'll start. I think, I think Iniesta and De Bruyne should get that. I think De Bruyne, he's got to be in there. He has to be in there.
Yeah.
He has to be in there.
Might have to do process of elimination. So if it's that, Gundogan, I don't see him getting in.
Yeah.
Yaya Toure, I don't.
Maybe because he was really good at that. He was good. Like,
It was only good. He wasn't good under Pep and
Yeah,
Man
I
City.
agree.
It was more so Pellegrini and
Yeah.
Mancini, where he was fundamental to Man City's two Prem titles before Pep came in. And even at Barcelona, he was good, but he still couldn't get in ahead of Barca 3.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
As much as I want to say Yaya Toure, I have to be realistic. Under Pep, it wasn't as good at what he was
Good.
on.
That's fair. That is fair. I think a lot of people would agree with that as well.
Who else is in the midfield?
You got Bernardo Silva, David Silva. David Silva in his prime was good, but I think after even when Pep came, he was still good. When Pep was,
It was like because the way Man City play now, could you realistic? Because everyone's issue was could you play 2 number 10s in the midfield, and De Bruyne and Silva, and everyone thought no, and then Pep's gone and said no, I don't know, you can do it. We've won 2 Premier League titles playing that way.
Exactly, but I feel as if with Man City, that team attacking wise had a lot more options attacking wise, whereas the Barca team had a lot more options in the middle of the midfield. That was the thing. But I feel as if De Bruyne, the way he's evolved, not just this season but last season, he's got to be in there. He has to be in there, and
he's got a footballing brain. He literally has. He's like I'm not saying he's a coach, but because he knows where everyone's meant to be, he knows right. I know Van Mahrez or Sané or Sterling where they're gonna be once I've got the ball. I'm making that pass right now. I know, like if I drop here, no one's gonna get me because no one's expecting it. So I'm just gonna be here.
His accuracy is ridiculous. I mean, I could tell De Bruyne now in Manchester to send a ball to my door, and he could still do it because he's that accurate. Like honestly, the guy's a joke, man. So I think he's got to be in there. And
he's got to be there.
And then either Xavi or Iniesta.
Iniesta, Xavi. David Silva still has a shout, but I can't. As much as he is a Premier League legend, David Silva, I just cannot see it. It pains me. It hurts me to say, but I still can't see it. So it's got to be either Xavi and Iniesta. And then
Xavi and Iniesta, who was better at both of those two? Who would get in the team? If there's one spot available,
I would say Iniesta.
Iniesta, yeah, I agree.
Because he carries the ball. Xavi, pass conductor, conducts the play just as much as Busquets, but more further up the field and can dictate it. Iniesta gets into pockets of space and you can't get the ball off him.
He scores goals as well, Iniesta as well. He scored a goal in the World Cup final.
It was important goals. It was important, like the World Cup.
Champions League 2009 against Chelsea. Big goal.
Chelsea, just last minute, you needed him. He turns up. That's what Iniesta brings, ball carrying. Carries the ball with his feet, and he was just quick, nimble. You couldn't get it off him, whether in tight spaces, open spaces. You knew he was going to make the right pass. So I would say that.
He was a small guy as well, so he could get around the pitch pretty easily. To be fair, so that's great. So we've got Edison, Dani Alves, Puyol, PK, Abidal, Busquets, De Bruyne, and we've got Iniesta now. Now it gets really interesting because we've got the front three.
Messi has to be in.
Yeah, Messi's there automatically anyway.
So it's 2 places out of however many.
But is he on the right? He's in the middle or the left? What position? I think on the right, to be honest. Because I think Aguero has to be in there. I don't know. Aguero has to.
But then Sterling has to be in as well because Sterling under Pep.
Yeah, that's true.
Phenomenal. Even David Sia has to have a show as well under Pep. Sané had 1 season, in my opinion.
17, 18, yeah.
17, 18, double digits in goals and assists. But in the next season, he in and out, and then
injuries as well.
Injuries. Bernardo Silva, I like him as a player. I think he's really, really good. I see him more centrally in a weird way, rather than out on the wing. And he's just, because I can see him play there. Pedro, I'm not a fan of Pedro, if I'm a bit
good to be fair. He's a good player, Barca, but
I just never thought. I thought they could do better than Pedro. I don't know. I just feel He scores a lot of goals. He scored
So
in England.
you say that as well, but you say everywhere he's been, he's won trophies as well. Like one at
Yeah.
Chelsea, one at Barcelona. Like he wins a lot of trophies. Even Spain as well, winning the Euros and the World Cup as well. He scores goals, Pedro. Like he's he's a good player.
He's just there, but I don't. It's just he can be frustrating sometimes.
That's fair. That's fair.
Messi has to, obviously Messi is taken away, but we just don't know what. Aguero has to be in because everyone, like you said before, everyone expected Aguero not to fit into Pep's system, but then he changed his mind in how he is willing to press and still be able to score at the rate he's going. Obviously, he is still picking up a lot of injuries, but you cannot say he isn't a Premier League legend.
I mean, the guy's his goal record is ridiculous. I think he's probably the best. He's probably the best in-box striker.
Even out of the box, he still scores.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, again, you try to think, okay, you know, Pep's trying to change him and trying to make him this player, but the guy, he's still going to get. I remember he scored 5 goals against Newcastle at one point.
Yeah,
that's not even the first time he's done it. He's done it a few times.
4 goals, 5 goals, hat tricks.
Yeah, the guys. That's why I think for me personally, if it was up to me, I'll say Messi on the right, Aguero in the middle, and then you've got Sterling on the left as a front three.
I love David Silva at the same time, though. Not David Villa.
David Villa, you know what? I give this guy credit because he started even before Pep came. 2008, the European Championships. I remember watching that. He was
Valencia.
Yeah, exactly. Standing there as well.
He knew where the ball was in the back of the net. He basically, there was times where he would put himself on the right in order to not accommodate, but in order to help the team out and still be a goal threat. Because even at the Spain World Cup 2010, he was playing off the right because Spain like to go with their false 9 formation and have the midfielder players as centre forward, but like dropping in and just confusing the opposition defence, and then that allows David Villa just to come in from the right hand, going unmarked. But
because Villa was good because he scored a lot of big goals. I remember the goal against Man United in the Champions League. That was a really nice goal. And I'll give you, you're right. He's very consistent, and he, in a way, kind of throughout the team, you don't mention him that much in that team. Because people overlook him and overlook his influence on that team and their success. But if we're assessing like who's really kicked on, who's really been a vital part of Pep's teams over the years, Villa scored a lot of great goals. And as you mentioned, great team player. But look at Sterling, way he's improved.
Sterling is another level because of Pep. But Villa was just still... Okay, Messi and Aguero have to be in, and it's either Villa or Sterling. And it pains... I don't... because of how...
Do you know what? There's no right or wrong answers here because I think anyone will find it hard to pick a team. But I'll tell you what, we can have a sub split. We can have 3 subs.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have Sterling for me. And then I'm guessing you're going to go for Villa as a final spot. Final spot for Villa. Okay, so that's our 11 sorted now. And we're going to the bench. So we can have 1 defender, 1 midfielder, and 1 attacking player.
Sterling will be on the bench for me for my one. And I'm guessing Villa would be on the bench for you.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, shit. What was that? I don't know. I might have to say Eto'o, in that season. I don't know.
He was there for 1 season, but throughout the time of Pep's Barcelona.
Yeah, true. Yeah, Villa was a key man. Yeah. Okay, so who's your defender? Who are you going to pick out as a defender to?
Company. I would have to say Company because I just feel Company, there was no other defender in a way. A lack of defenders, and I'm not picking a left back. I mean, Kyle Walker has a shout, but he's not on the levels of Company.
Yeah, defensively, I agree. I agree. And who's your midfield player on the bench?
Xavi or David Silva. One of those two.
You have to pick one.
I'd have to go Xavi.
Fair enough. And who's your attacking player? Sterling. Yeah, good shout. I think defensively for me, I do feel as if Kyle Walker... The reason why I say Kyle Walker is because he influences the play going forward. And the guy can get assists. You probably get you about 10 assists a season. And if you're a team that's played wing backs or attacking fullbacks, he's going to get you an assist because he's got pace and he can put the ball in the box as well. So Company, a great defender, but I just feel as if consistently under Pep, he didn't always do it. I think there's a lot of chopping and changing at the back, so that's the reason why Kyle Walker gets a slight nod ahead of Company. In the midfield, I'll probably have to say Xavi as well, just purely on Pep's time at Barca. David Silva was great under Pep at City, but I just feel as if Barca, that period, there wasn't many better than those three in midfield, so I have to go with Xavi. And as a attacking David Villa, because of his contribution, his team play, and the goals he scored vital moments. But at the same time, Eto'o gets a massive shout as well because he was in that season very, very good there. So that's our 11, and my subs bench. That was very tough to pick.
Yeah.
But I mean, how would you so? Look, it's been a great conversation today, speaking about a lot of things. How would you sum up, Pep's time at both clubs and just Pep in general since his management career started in 2008? How would you summarise his teams over the years?
Amazing. Football evolution changed the way teams play, no matter whatever league he's in. Germany, Spain, Germany, England, and wherever he goes next. I mean, it isn't also a coincidence that whenever he's been in Spain, when he was at Spain, the national team done well. Germany, national team wins the World Cup. England, semi-finals, which is still like a massive achievement for a country like England. So you can't say there is an influence of Pep's play translating towards the national team's respect where he's gone. It's just his football evolution, his football ideas. It just brings out new leash of life and new ways of playing, and where players should be based on pitch and whatnot. Even in his document, the Amazon All or Nothing one, where it shows an insight of how he lives, breathes, his ideas, how it translates, how they go about their training sessions, was just you could see how it translate. You could translate it basically to how it was done at Barcelona.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think he's a football genius, really. There's been a lot of great managers over the years. I've seen Carlo Ancelotti, Alex Ferguson, Jose Mourinho, Pep, Jurgen. There's been so many great managers, but I think with Pep and the way he sees football no offense there, Arsenal fans. I forgot. There's just so many great managers. Arsenal's a great manager. Because when I was going to watching football, like him and Ferguson, they were the two guys. Do you know what I mean? So, Arsene Wenger, massive respects the guy, changed the way football, again, like I said before, changed the way football's played in the Premier League. Tiki-taka, Fabregas, Nasri, in there, Hleb was playing at one point as well, Van Persie at the time. So he changed a lot of things. So,
but Guardiola just Guardiola just made sure.
Yeah, just different level, we'll say.
But even Guardiola, like he says, the one player who I admire most is Bielsa, the Leeds manager. Because he came from the school, he learned everything a lot from Marcelo Bielsa, and his foundation was just relentless.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why I'm so excited to see Leeds next season, because I want to see how they're going to adapt in the Premier League. But look, it's been a really good chat today. I really appreciate your time, Adon. We're definitely going to carry on, guys, with more comparisons and try to sort of, again, if you've got any suggestions, feel free to let us know, and we'll do our best to to create some more videos. But yeah, Adam, it's been a pleasure today, mate.
Likewise. Thank you very much.
Again pretty soon. No problem at all. Yeah, guys, listen, keep up to date with Athletes Hub on Instagram. Follow us on there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Got some really nice content coming your way pretty soon. So until then, see you later, guys.